Welcome to My Health, My Way, a podcast dedicated to empowering and supporting women living with endometriosis, adenomyosis, and infertility. We are your hosts. I'm Alana, Marketing Business Manager, and Sarah, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. We are here to bring you stories and insights from a holistic perspective. Our aim is to foster a sense of community to help you navigate the challenges and triumphs that come with these conditions. Get ready to embark on a holistic adventure with us. Welcome to My Health, My Way, where health meets functional wisdom.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 7 of the My Health, My Way podcast, where we will be busting some more myths today, continuing on from episode 6. I'm excited. Let's do this.
Well, this one is a good one to bring up. Because you have endometriosis, your pain is just going to be so severe. It's going to be off the Richter scales. So if you've been diagnosed with endometriosis, expect to have the most pain of anybody ever.
No, the pain levels can be so different from woman to woman.
Of course.
So some women are in such debilitating pain they can't work.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the strongest painkillers work anymore. And other women's don't actually have pain at all, but they have endometriosis, but they might have all the other symptoms. Mm-hmm. And even that doesn't not necessarily mean that the person that is in the most pain has, stage 4. So the level of endometriosis doesn't, predict what level of pain you're in.
Right.
So level 4 doesn't mean you have to be in excruciating pain,
mm-hmm.
but most women probably are. Mm-hmm. But you can also be in excruciating pain, having, stage 1.
I guess it goes into your pain tolerance as well. Some people have got really high pain thresholds and some people have got really low. So, I guess it would go into how your body would perceive pain.
Yes, absolutely. That, yeah. So a lot of the nervous system dysfunction plays a role there as well. If you're really stuck in that fight or flight, you will feel pain so much more.
Yeah.
It depends. So, nervous system has a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah. And then another one is that if you do have endometriosis, well, you are going to have excruciatingly heavy bleeding around your period time. But again, that's a myth, yeah?
No, not necessarily. There's a lot of women that don't necessarily have the heavy bleeding because they have endometriosis. There are a lot of that are. But again, this goes back to what I was saying before. We need to look at all the women and not just be like, because some women do experience it, that's what everyone else is experiencing. It's not that black and white. We're all a bit different. And the heavy bleeding tends to be or shows up more with adenomyosis.
Okay.
From what I see. But again, every woman, I always say, even to my clients, I always say, we're all different.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because someone shows up that way doesn't necessarily mean you have to. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you don't have it, right? So it's just, if you go to a doctor and say, well, you can't have it because you don't have heavy periods, that's not true. You can still have it.
Of course.
You show up differently with different symptoms because of underneath you have different dysfunctions. Yeah. And then at surface level, what shows is going to be different.
Yeah. And I would also say that different women have different things going on in their body. So we all have different types of periods, right? Yeah. So some women are heavy bleeders and don't have endometriosis. Some women are light bleeders and they do have endometriosis. Sometimes the texture of the blood itself is different. I know, again, I have a blood clotting disorder. So sometimes my periods are clots, whereas again, some women might only have clots and it just comes out as a whole lot of clots, or it could come out as just one big massive bleed per month, and then for the next couple of days it's really light and then nothing happens. So everybody is so different. There are different things going on in the body, and so just because you have endometriosis does not mean you are going to be a heavy bleeder and you have to stay at home for the next 4 days or something. No. Yeah,
it definitely often shows.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is where we need to be careful to not normalize anything and to really just look at the person that's in front of us.
Yeah.
Not go because you heard someone else tell you whatever it is that, that's going to be the case for everyone. But I think that's what we generally do.
Yeah.
And so we just need to be a little bit more careful with that. Yeah.
Everyone's an individual.
Yes. I think we like to kind of put everyone into this like Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone wants to just be like everyone else.
Yeah.
But we're not.
It's like, I have endometriosis, so I'm going to have all these symptoms. But actually, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's because you're different.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Okay, we don't all show up the same way.
And then another myth is that endometriosis is rare. You've got endometriosis? Wow, you poor thing, that's so rare.
Look, I know the stats are saying something like 1 in 10. I think it's far more than that.
Yeah.
I think the fact, too, that so many women are still going undiagnosed.
Yeah.
We're not factoring them in.
Because we're told that the pain is normal, right?
It takes you like 7 years to get a diagnosis. Yeah. So where are those women? Because, they're still suffering.
And if you're a teenager, you can't have it.
I think with the amount of women, even my partner says this, because obviously, he works with a lot of women, and sometimes these things come up in conversation, and he's like, every woman I talk to today has endometriosis, I swear. Yeah. And so it's almost like every second woman I talk to has endometriosis. I'm like, it is far more than 1 in 10. I do know that.
Well, do you know what? In him being able to pick up that information, what that tells me is that women are not putting up with it. They're not putting up with the pain. They are going to a professional. They are getting help that they need, because they're like, hold on a minute, this is not normal. I should not be feeling like this. And then the diagnosis is coming. It's a bit like, everybody at the moment, everyone has ADHD. And I think it's because everybody's going and getting that diagnosis and going, hold on a minute, there's something that I'm a little bit off. What is it? Oh, I've got this. Because everybody is at the point where they're like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to put up with this pain. I don't want to have to go through this. So I think probably the stats where you said it is 1 in 10, in the next couple of years, you might find it's 1 in 3. That's an example. Because women are now, they're pushing back.
And I encourage every woman to do so, because from someone who I didn't push back for a long time, I actually trusted my gynecologist back then. He helped me throughout my pregnancy, and I actually really liked him, and so I stuck with him. But the problem with that was that I never got any answers. And it actually took me, personally, I think looking back, far too long to go, I am not going back there, because he's actually not helping me. Yeah. And to get a second opinion. There was actually someone else that told me, hey, I think you should just get a second opinion. Yeah. The added issue we have in this town, I guess, is that's not very big, and you don't have that many specialists, especially that specialize in, something like endometriosis. So there really was only one to go to in this town. But I would absolutely encourage women to always seek a second opinion and maybe even a third. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And for listeners of the podcast, we actually do live in a regional city in Australia. So medical facilities here are not fantastic. So, but what that actually says is that even if you are in a place where there might only be 1 or 2 specialists, now after COVID, you are able to have telehealth appointments. So if you're not getting the answers from whichever service providers are in your town, in your area, in your suburb, whatever, please seek other help. Please go outside, because I feel like telehealth is really big now, and a lot of service providers or medical professionals actually have moved into more that space, seeing patients that way. So just a service announcement.
The women that come to me from even now, as far as Turkey and Sweden, they're like, there's no one like you here. Yeah. No one looks at the whole body like you do. Yeah. No one's ever explained anything the way you do. And so women come to me from all over the world because they feel like they don't have that support where they live. Yeah. And they'll probably be looking forever to find someone that's actually going to look at them as a whole and not just in parts. Oh, maybe we can chop this out or chop that out. And it's like, I don't want you to chop any parts out. I just want you to kind of look at me and say,
look at me as a whole.
Yes, what you can do to help me instead of just throwing drugs at me. And so, yeah, I do, and I guess in that sense, the whole virtual office and doing consultations via Zoom is just fantastic, because it doesn't matter where anyone else is.
Exactly.
Happy to see anyone.
And you're a little bit unique in the fact that you are a European and you do live in Australia, and so you have the added benefit if somebody is in a different country, in Europe, you can sympathise with
if any Germans out there are listening. I still speak German. Okay.
Yeah. But you also understand the Australian medical system. You understand the European medical system. You understand the American medical system, because you do have a lot of clients in America as well. So you're an all-rounder. You understand
my training was actually based, or, part of my training was actually based in the States.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of clients there, and now I do have more European clients, and then I live in Australia. So I'm definitely a bit of like an all-rounder.
You are an all-rounder,
But it's definitely benefits my clients for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so another myth is surgery is always the best treatment for endometriosis.
Absolutely not. I think again, goes back to talk to the women who are worse off after surgery and who wish they would have never had it. Mm-hmm. Surgery can be a fantastic tool. There's no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. And I will always say that there's a time and place for it. Absolutely. I personally have benefited from it. Okay, so I'm not going to say that surgery isn't a good tool at times, but I think there also comes a time when we need to look at, I guess, the client and think, are we going to do surgery, or are we going to try and see if we can reduce symptoms without it? Mm-hmm. Sometimes women do not want to have surgery. Yeah. They are terrified.
Yeah, terrified,
surgery.
Yeah.
And then if they stick to the medical professionals, then it's kind of like, well, then we can't help you. Mm. And so I have had a client who came to me, she didn't want a surgery. Yep. And I said, you don't have to. Yep. She said, I want to throw everything else at it before I will ever decide to have surgery. And I said, that's okay.
That's fine.
I work with my clients, whatever decision they make. If they say, I want to have surgery, but I still want to work with you at the same time to work on everything else and reduce inflammation so I don't have to continuously have surgery, we'll do that. Yeah. It's, at the end of the day, it's not always required, but there also is a time and place when surgery might be the only option to reduce symptoms.
Yeah.
Before we jump back into the second half of our show, I would like to share how you can work with Sarah. As a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, Sarah takes a holistic root cause approach to your well-being. Say goodbye to merely treating symptoms and hello to uncovering the root causes of your health challenges. Sarah utilises cutting-edge functional testing to get to the heart of the matter and design a personalised plan just for you. Just remember, she's only a click away. You can connect with her on Instagram under NutriRoot_health for valuable insights, health tips, and a peek into the world of functional diagnostic nutrition. If you're more of an email person, drop her a message directly at sarah@nutriRootHealth.com.au. That information will be in the show notes.
Don't miss out on this opportunity to work with me, your dedicated health detective.
Now let's dive back into the second half of our podcast. Stay tuned for more intriguing conversations.
And that kind of leads into this next myth, and we did touch on it really quickly before, is that a hysterectomy will cure endometriosis.
No, we already know it doesn't, because women still grow lesions afterwards. And again, I would really, really encourage women not to just speak to the women who've had a hysterectomy 2, 3, 5 years ago that tell you it was the best decision of their life. And then women make the decision based off of that woman telling them it was the best decision of their lives. Speak to some of the women that have had it done. Yeah. And they absolutely hate life because everything's just gotten worse. Or 10 years down the track, they are worse off than they were ever before they had the hysterectomy. Yeah. It takes a little while for these dysfunctions to show up again, and they will. Yeah. Probably differently, maybe worse, but they will. Yeah. And having a hysterectomy doesn't deal with any of the dysfunctions that were there. It doesn't help you with the overall inflammation. It doesn't fix your gut dysfunction. Or, cures your fatigue all of a sudden, or, addresses your IBS. It doesn't. No. It just removes an organ, and now you have a vital void for the rest of your life. Yeah.
And because there's different types of hysterectomies. There's partial, there's full, we'll just take your ovaries, we'll take the whole thing. So any of it is just, it's not a fix-it.
It doesn't fix any of the underlying issues that I see as a functional practitioner that are actually showing up for women with endometriosis that are part of the problem. It doesn't address any of it. So I would definitely advise against having a hysterectomy to try and cure it. And it's also not a cure for adenomyosis at the same time, even though women do believe that. Yeah. But again, it doesn't address any of the issues that are there. And what I will add to that is that I work with women that just have adenomyosis. They don't have endometriosis. Mm-hmm. Specifically, one client, she suffers from chronic fatigue very, very badly. Yep. She was showing up with severe mold illness. Now, she has all of the symptoms of mold illness as well. I mean, the chronic fatigue is just one.
Yeah.
And the brain fog and things like that. They weren't aware that they were living in a place that was basically full of mold, covered, floors, walls. Once they've
seen it. It's
terrible,
terrible,
I've seen too many of those pictures and videos, and it's horrifying. And they were living in that, and so the children had gotten sick as well. They're only really little, 2 and 3, and so the husband was kind of still fine, but everyone else kind of got sick, and she was severely sick. Taking her uterus out would not help her at all.
No, not at all.
So the reason she has this huge estrogenic load is because she has, estrogens, like mycotoxins are hugely contribute to your estrogenic load. Yeah. Taking the uterus out is not going to help with that.
You. No.
It's not going to fix a single one of her symptoms. So I want to add to that, when you actually understand the underlying dysfunction that's there and the contributing factors, something like mold illness, which is what I see in a lot of my clients, you can take the uterus out all you want. You're still going to suffer. And in a lot of ways, there's going to be other symptoms that are going to probably appear that are going to be really, really difficult to then really get on top of, because now we don't have a uterus anymore. And it's a detox pathway for the body. Yeah. It's, we're meant to be bleeding.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I totally agree with that. Now, endometriosis is caused by an estrogen dominance.
It's not caused by an estrogen dominance. It's another contributing and driving factor. Mm-hmm. So the more, I guess, you have an estrogen dominance or excess, the worse it generally is. So you really want to get a handle on, your hormones. You want to create more balance. This is what we do in the Endo Thrive Tribe. Okay, really create more balance. Yeah. Estrogen dominance actually means that you have low progesterone. Yep. More so than not, because it actually says it, dominance. So estrogen is the dominant hormone, meaning it's not having its best buddy by its side. Yeah. It has the upper hand. Yeah. So you really need to look at your progesterone. And oftentimes that's really, really low for women with endometriosis. Yeah. So you really need to work on more balance. That's what it's all about. Yeah. And so it's a driving factor. Okay. But I will argue, because of all the women that I see and the different testing, even myself included, I have low estrogen. I've had it now for years. Mm-hmm. And, some of my clients that come to me, they have low estrogen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the whole, it just kind of busts the whole, narrative that it's just because you have too much estrogen and you just need to suppress it.
And look, I can bust that too. I have high estrogen and a low progesterone. I do not have endometriosis.
Because I think if it was caused by that, how many more women would have endometriosis? There is so many women that feel absolutely terrible the week before their period. Yep, that's they feel their anger. And I can tell you right now, these are all women that are in an estrogen dominant state. If not, they have an excess of estrogen. Yep. And I speak to a lot of women that feel terrible the week before. Yep. They feel like they want to kill their husband. Oh yeah. Yeah. And
I've called you on many occasions with that exact same thing.
And I'll tell you, yes, your estrogen is having a good time because you don't have enough progesterone. Yeah, yeah. And if I remember right, you have low progesterone, don't you?
Correct.
Yes, I do. And that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. So I'm like, you can hate on estrogen all you want. It's actually not an estrogen problem. No. This is a progesterone problem. Yeah. It might still be an estrogen metabolism problem, as in there might be some liver dysfunction there. Okay, so your estrogens don't get metabolized down the preferred pathway. Yep. That's still potential. I mean, a blood test doesn't look at your metabolites, so that leaves that kind of still uncovered. Yep. But in saying that, for the majority of women, it really comes down to creating more balance. Yep. And for a lot of women, there is that high cortisol that's sitting there. Mm-hmm. It's the high stress. Mm-hmm. It's being everything for everyone, doing far too much today. Mm-hmm. We're constantly pumping out the stress hormone, and that is going to chew in your progesterone. So unless you get a handle on your stress, that progesterone is going to remain low. Yep. And especially for us now, I guess, in the 40s, throwing Vitex as that is just not going to cut it anymore. Yeah, yeah. Well, again, Vitex worked for me great when I was in my 20s. It does 30s. For the younger population. Yeah, yeah. But, now in my 40s, it's just not, it's not cutting it. For sure. Yeah. So, again, it does lead back to looking at stress, because that cortisol is going to keep breaking you down, and it's going to, balance out with progesterone, because your progesterone is your calming hormone, and you got that cortisol up there, Yeah. So this really goes into understanding the relationships between the hormones, and not just hating so much on that estrogen that is just doing what it's designed to do. A trip to the Bahamas, I think, would fix all of that too. Let's go. Let's go. Pack our bags. Let's go. Yeah. All right.
And then last one we will finish on, because we are just hitting the hormones, is that endometriosis is a hormonal issue. It is just all of the hormones, they're all out of whack. Because none of them are making any sense, you have endometriosis for that reason.
No, I mean, again, it goes back to the point that I was just making. I mean, most women probably have hormones that are a bit of a mess, especially with all the stress we're dealing with these days, and the food system and the things that are, endocrine disruptors that are really disrupting our hormonal balance. Yeah. No, there's just far too many women, and they certainly do not have endometriosis, so it's not just a hormonal issue. I have talked a lot about this, is that it's actually more of an immune dysfunction issue, where the immune system is kind of being suppressed, and it's not dealing with the lesions that are growing, it's allowing that. And so we really need to look at strengthening the immune system, which goes back to strengthening the gut.
Yep, absolutely. And just to end on that, endometriosis is not a nice, tidy, be-all and end-all diagnosis. There are other things that can be contributing to your state of feeling unwell, unrest, things like perimenopause, menopause, PMDD. It doesn't just have to be, well, endometriosis is our main one and you kind of fit into that, so we're just going to diagnose you with that. There are so many different, as we've said pretty much through all of these, there is so many contributing factors, and it doesn't just one size fits all. You could have many different things. The pain levels are not all the same. Your cycle is not all the same. Your quality of your actual period itself is not all the same. So don't be pigeonholed into thinking you have endometriosis because of blah blah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
It can be
misdiagnoses still happen. I mean, women are definitely having surgery and being told, no, you definitely don't have it. I will say go to someone who obviously specialized in that and properly looks for it, because sometimes it's not that obvious. Obviously, my specialist said she had to kind of look for it. It wasn't as obvious, and I feel sometimes maybe some specialists are not trained enough, and they're not really looking for it as such. But I will say that misdiagnosis is still happening, and that women now are being told that they have it, then they have surgery, and they end up being told, no, you don't actually have it. And the same is actually happening for women with adenomyosis that have their uterus removed, and then they have the biopsies done, and they're being told, I'm sorry, but you didn't actually have adenomyosis. Misdiagnosis is still happening, and I would say that they probably still happen a lot as well, because we then kind of go down that path of just thinking that everything now is endometriosis, when in fact there are still many, many other conditions that can make you feel that way, that can cause terrible periods. Estrogen dominance or excess alone can make you feel horrible, and does for many, many women, but they do not have endometriosis. So definitely be careful with that as well.
And so if a woman is feeling, right, I think I might have endometriosis because of X, Y, and Z symptoms, and they come to you and they start wanting to work with you, you do their hormonal testing and you go through everything, you might find, well, hold on a second, you've got these different things that are going on inside the body. You might not have endometriosis. Is that something that you can work out with a woman if they haven't seen their GP, they haven't gone to a specialist, and they haven't had a formal diagnosis? They just think, I think I've got it. I've got all the signs and symptoms. Let me start working with Sarah. And then you uncover that actually, hey, endometriosis might not be what you've got. Go and have that ultrasound, which is not going to pick it up unless it's in stage 3 or 4. But you can then at least still work with them and go, well, this is endometriosis is not what you have.
I will add into that. I don't diagnose anyone, and I probably wouldn't go as far as to tell anyone that they don't have it, because there's no functional test that will reveal that as such.
Perfect.
So I wouldn't say, hey, you don't have it for sure, because unless you have that surgery or something else that is, more confirmative, there is no way of knowing from a functional test. But generally, once we work on, I guess, the contributors to inflammation, the gut dysfunction, liver dysfunction, et cetera, your symptoms will, sometimes completely disappear. And so then what's the need to have the surgery that essentially is not going to, be a long-term fix anyway? Then there's no need for it. So sometimes we can absolutely go around that and just, not have that surgery. Some women want to have that surgery because they want to know for sure and they need that information. And some women are quite happy to not have that surgery because they'd rather just concentrate on how they feel and whether they can, relieve their symptoms long term, and then be happy with that.
Yeah.
It depends on, I guess, the woman and what pathway they would like to choose.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. This has been a great discussion, this one. And
great. Thank you.
I'll talk to you in the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed the enlightening discussions and insights. If you're ready to take charge of your health journey and unravel the mysteries of endometriosis, adenomyosis, and infertility, don't forget to connect with Sarah on Instagram at nutriroot_health, or shoot her an email at sarah@nutriroot.health.com.au. That will be in the show notes as well.
Remember, your health is an ongoing journey, and I'm your detective, ready to help you crack the case. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes, and until the next time, take care of yourselves.